It's showtime.
Welcome to the Player Profiler Thursday Night Tailgate with Biggs and Grindberg. I am Brendon Booth, a.k.a. Biggs. He is Mike Lindberg, a.k.a. Grindberg. Our producer, Schultze, is somewhere wrestling through drawers in the back. We are here to preview the Thursday night game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. We are also here to answer your starts and sits questions for tonight and also for the weekend. That's what we do. Plus, Mike's going to probe us, and that'll be cool. First, I want to give a shout out to my Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who lost their 16th consecutive Canadian Football League Grey Cup. It was like 80-12. Just got to say to you, quarterback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, maybe if you throw more than 2 passes to Kenny Lawler, you might take home the cup one year. So get it together. Anyway, how's it going, Mike?
Appreciate the jab, but you know what? We're going to continue on as Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But you know what? It was they didn't deserve to win the game anyhow. But back into a game here tonight.
The Winnipeg Jets, the Buffalo Bills of the CFL.
There it is. All right. Well, let's get it going here, Biggs. Let's forget about my hometown and let's talk about the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight. And it looks like a pretty weather-stricken game tonight. How much do you think this is going to really affect, the fantasy outlook tonight?
I think it boosts the running game a little bit. I had a slight fade on Nick Chubb. I think he does a little bit more. Had a slight fade on Najee Harris. I think he does a little bit more. I had a slight boost on George Pickens. We won't talk about Mike Williams, who I gave everybody as a start of the week last week, and he wound up with 0 points. But George Pickens is one of my starts of the week. I believe he's in our show notes for tonight. I'll just double check that. Spoiler alert. But yeah, we're looking at this game on the calendar and thinking this is going to be a defensive battle. Both of these teams have pretty strong defenses in the first place, so I don't think that there was going to be a ton of scoring. It's not like they're going like over 60 points. But we had seen the ascension of Russell Wilson and his connection with George Pickens. We've seen Cedric Tillman getting up there, and also Elijah Moore had a touchdown last week, and Jerry Jeudy is starting to go off. And we know the running games for both teams. I think the rain might be a slight issue. Doesn't change how I feel about Thursday night football, though.
Yeah, me too. But you know what? We got an 8-2 team. That's kind of surprising to some here coming out of the gate. The Steelers are, challenging as the class of the AFC. Russell Wilson's coming in here looking pretty good. He's shown flashes of his old self this season. Completion percentage, 60%, 942 yards, 6 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. Coming off a big win last week against the Ravens, Wilson will face a Browns defense that has struggled with consistency. With the rain, we talked about that. You're pretty confident in the connection there with George Pickens. So what do you think the outlook here is for Russell Wilson in this game?
I think Russ does Russ things. He's not gonna win you a game throwing 30 times out of the pocket. He's gonna do a little bit of scrambling, a little bit of improvising. He's gonna find George Pickens downfield at least once, and hand off to Najee a lot of times. I think it stays a close game. 17-10 Steelers would not surprise me.
Yeah.
45-30 Steelers would surprise me.
So what about the other quarterback in the situation? Jameis Winston stepped into the starting role for the Browns and has had some pretty big games, including a 395 passing yard, two touchdown game last week and a loss against the Saints. Winston is capable of airing it out, but once again, the rain. So what's your outlook on him tonight in this game?
Well, the thing about Winston is the opposite of what I just said about Russell Wilson, he is going to stand in the pocket and throw the ball 40 times a game. The thing is that he's playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense that allows the second fewest points in fantasy to quarterbacks. They allow one of the lowest rushing yards totals to quarterbacks. They haven't allowed a rushing touchdown to a quarterback this year. They are in the single digits in passing touchdowns allowed. They've allowed 2,300 yards, which is, one of the better rates in the league, and 12.8 total points per week to quarterbacks in fantasy. So Jameis can chuck the ball 40 times, and he might, just based on volume, have a little bit bigger game than what the Steelers allow on average. But I don't know if he's necessarily gonna have a great game.
Okay. Well, what about, you talked about the running game tonight. I was hopeful of a resurgence of Nick Chubb coming out of that ACL injury, coming back. Now he's playing this tough Steelers defense. Obviously, they've shown some vulnerabilities. They allowed a big game to Tyrone Tracy a couple of weeks ago. So what are your thoughts? Obviously, you're a little bit more optimistic, like you mentioned, about it. What are we looking for the workload for Nick Chubb? And do you see Jerome Ford stepping in and playing a role too tonight because of potentially a little bit of a muckfest here and maybe the Browns being out of it?
Possibly. The muck is what has me leaning. I didn't like the matchup of Chubb against the Steelers defense, and I didn't really like the Najee versus the Browns defense either. Both these rush defenses are pretty darn good. It's their division. They kind of have to be to keep up. And the rain is going to suppress the passing game a little bit, likely. So yeah, I put money on a Najee touchdown. I said it. I put it on the universe, so it's not going to happen. And Chubb is, he's one of the drivers of the offense. So if the Browns find that they can move the ball early with Cedric Tillman and David Njoku, they're likely gonna lean on Chubb a little bit, and that might be the key to a winning game for the Browns. They just have to do it as early as possible to keep Pittsburgh out of it.
All right, we'll get to these start and sit questions, folks, as we wrap up the Thursday night primer here. So we'll get them in the chat. We're going to hit them all up as we roll up into game time. Now, Biggs, I got a question about these three wide receivers you mentioned earlier. We got Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, and Cedric Tillman. They're kind of all ranked within 10 to 15 spots of each other, and it just depends on potentially the matchup, but we got to consider David Njoku as well here. Now, tonight, if there was a weakness or, somewhere where the Browns are going to be targeting, where would they target in the wide receiver game? Who would your money be on if they were going to pull up anybody tonight? Yeah.
On the outside. So Pittsburgh allows 19.3 points to wide receivers on the outside, lining up in the X or the Y, and they absolutely shut down the slot receivers. So Elijah Moore is the team leader in slot snaps. So I have a heavy fade on him. In fact, he's my sit of the week. He don't get cute. We all have been waiting a couple years for Elijah Moore, and he got us a touchdown in our lineups last week, just because we were like, this is a good start for him. But don't think that you can count on him every week, and this is the week to stick him back on your bench, because Pittsburgh does not cotton to slot receivers going off against them.
So are you a little bit lower than on David Njoku heading into tonight with the weather and potentially, getting some targets up the middle?
I think David Njoku is going to do what he typically does. And Pittsburgh is around the middle of the pack in points allowed to tight ends. So I think he has a ceiling of 12 to 15 points tonight. But if they can find a way to scheme him into a lot of open looks, he could have a big night.
Yeah. Okay. Good call there, Biggs. Now, folks, we've talked about the Thursday night primer, and we've got a new app that is Fast Draft. We want to hear about it. Let's get the Podfather on here, Schultze, to talk about the
Fast
new app.
Draft.
There it is. Let's go.
Oh, incredible news about Fast Draft. Fast Draft DFS is live. It's called the Flex 6 Frenzy. You just draft 6 guys, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends for the Sunday slate. You like Jahmyr Gibbs? You like Jackson Smith and Jigba? You like Tyrone Tracy? Draft him, draft him, draft him. And the beauty is you can just order 5 teams, submit your rankings, and Fast Draft will email you the results. We awarded $1,000 in prizes our first week, and we're just going up from there. Soon there's going to be a select 6. No drafting at all. You just pick any 6 guys. Our DFS mantra, just say no to salaries on Fast Draft. Don't forget there's free tools on Fast Draft too. You want to get ready for startup season? We've created the best Dynasty mock draft experience there is. And if you want to play in these DFS contests, and our best ball contest for 2025 are coming very soon too, just use promo code PODFATHER when you deposit and you get a free draft. It's that easy. And you're like, oh, I already have Fast Draft. Great. Refer a friend. Have them put your username in as the promo code, and then you and your friend will both get an instant deposit match up to $25. We got DFS. We got Dynasty Mocks. We got Best Ball. It's all there for you on fastdraft.app. Check it out. And the promo code is PODFATHER.
Actually, the promo code is Big Boned. BIGBONEDED. That's the code, Matt. And how do I know that, Matt? Because you personally emailed my buddy who used that as his code and said, "Hey, I'm Matt Kelly, and I will personally match $25 in your deposit." And I was like, "Ooh, come on, Tate, get in there."
There you have it,
Fast
Tate.
Draft.
Fast Draft. Yeah, it's revolutionary, and it's the next big thing out there. So if you don't have it downloaded, you better get in on it, because I don't
Some
have
would say it's the next big thing.
There it is. All right. Good patent there, Biggs. All right, let's move on. Let's get these start and sit questions going in the flow now. So as they come up, we'll pull them on the screen, and then we'll continue down the show sheet as needed here. So Schultze, we got one here. Okay, so Best Ball Dynasty Superflex question. This is a cool one. Okay, so drop Ritter. Minshew lost his magic.
Excuse me. Gardner Minshew's magic is in his mustache. So it's not gone anywhere. He was just never good. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so we've got drop Ritter, Dawson Knox, or Gabe Davis on IR. So this is a Superflex Dynasty, okay? So we got to consider quarterback situation here. What's your thoughts originally here? Like, where does your mind take you?
The poster child for best ball is Gabe Davis, and he may be on the IR, but it's a dynasty, so we have to think about next year. And I think of all of the best ball assets, he is the best one. Ritter and Minshew, I don't know if they're roster worthy. Dawson Knox is on a bye, so I don't know what the question is. Maybe the question is, do I drop Ritter? I wouldn't drop Ritter because we have
one of them, Biggs. So you drop either Ritter, Dawson Knox, or Gabe Davis. Which one are you dropping in a best ball dynasty superflex?
Probably Dawson Knox.
I agree with that. Quarterback is just they could all of a sudden get a couple games, and all of a sudden their value spikes up. Dawson Knox I know he's playing behind Dalton Kincaid. He's going to be playing behind him, and like you said, for best ball formats, Gabe Davis has probably got the more upside out of the three. I would say that too. What do you think?
Yeah, even if he's not playing, it's a dynasty, so next year. He also asked later, or mentions it's so that he can pick up Amir Abdullah. Okay. Literally a Raiders fan going, I don't know about that. Especially this week going up against the Broncos is not an ideal matchup. But hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to think that maybe they're gonna give this rookie Dylan Labe a little bit of a run here too. He's got the three down skill set. Maybe they give him some run. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that there, Biggs, coming from the Raider Nation?
I think he fumbled, and that put him in the doghouse, and he's just been behind rehabbing running backs ever since. So maybe if he can hang on to the ball, he gets into this game and shows a little something. But I don't think the Raiders' plans for him are to do much at this point.
Okay, let's get another one up here, Schultze. So we got Coach Retzlaff here. Jaylen Warren gonna pop in receiving tonight, +2. Okay, 270, 25 receiving yards. Okay, so that's Retzlaff's call tonight on Jaylen Warren.
No, it's a question. There's a question mark.
Yeah.
My turn to say. Actually, Mike, it's a question.
All right.
Let me quick to the data machine.
Yes, I like this play. +270. That's a nice value.
Yeah, it is a nice value.
I'm all about it. Jaylen Warren's always getting those receptions. Actually, I caught longest reception at 9.5 yards for Jaylen Warren. Big fan of that one.
Yep, I'm making that play too, over 25 yards. I like it.
Yeah, me too. I like it.
Last 2 weeks, he's over 25. Although it's his only 2 weeks this season with over 25, but it's 2 weeks in a row. So it looks like that's what they're trying to scheme up for him.
He's been trending up the last couple of weeks. He's been injured too. We got to keep that in mind. So I think the Steelers.
Hey, I'm back, but those are his only 2 games he's played with Russ.
Yeah,
it's true. I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. All right, let's get another question up here, Schultze. We've got PPR. Start Jeudy tonight in the weather game, or Xavier Worthy, who's I think the Chiefs schemed him in last game to just prove a point with Buffalo. I honestly not too sure about that one. To me, out of my gut here, I'm going to go with Jeudy in this one based off of his role in the offense, and he could break a big play in this weather. I'm not 100% sold on Worthy this week. What are your thoughts, Biggs?
Typically, I stay away from Chiefs guys, but also typically I stay away from Thursday night guys, and also Joey Porter Jr. is pretty darn good. Jerry Jeudy has shown us that he can be absolutely locked down by a cornerback. If I'm looking at Worthy, he's running about a third of his routes out of the slot, and they're playing against Carolina, and Carolina allows not a whole lot of slot points, 10 a game. It's towards the bottom of the league. I think it's 25th. So if Worthy's on the outside and Carolina's allowing 16 points per game to wideouts, then I think he's a little bit better play. They just have to kind of get him down the field rather than try and get him open in short situations. But with that said, I'm still kind of leaning Jeudy in this one, simply because he's more of a focal point of that offense than Xavier Worthy is. And although Tillman is my number one in Cleveland, I think that's the guy that they want to get the ball to. But Jeudy,
I got Jeudy over Tillman. I like his upside.
I know you do.
Yeah. I have Jeudy over Tillman in that offense, and I like Jeudy tonight, even over Worthy as a Chiefs guy. It's so hard to peg the Chiefs wide receivers. I'm done trying to figure it out, and I should have listened to you months ago to try and figure that one out. So yeah, stay away from Worthy. Let's get Jeudy in there. Josh, let's do it.
Where is our IDP guy? Because I just want to crow a little bit about his question last week of whether he should start Big Train Spillane, Terrell Bernard, or TJ Edwards. And I told him to start Spillane and Bernard. And guess what? I was right. So, I wanted to crow about that a little bit.
I like this question here. This is a good one. All right. So we've got sit 1 PPR, Evans, Monty, Cup, or Connor. I really like a couple of these matchups, in particular the running backs, which I think it would be hard for me to sit either one of Monty or Connor this week. It would be tough press there. So to me, it would be between Cup or Evans, and Evans is coming off an injury, his first game back. But obviously the Bucks, they're in need of their top wide receiver back here. Since Chris Godwin went down to, I think he's going to be destined for a pretty big game. Cooper Kupp, it's coming out. That's another tough matchup this week, but I still have them in the top 10. So I mean, this is a tough one. I'm going to have to say, for me personally, I would sit Mike Evans just based off of him coming off the injury and his situation in that offense right now.
I'm sitting Kupp of those guys simply because of the matchup. It's a pretty terrible matchup for the Rams, and there you have the combination of a really good Philadelphia defense, a really good Philadelphia backfield. Cooper DeJean is starting to come on. They have a bunch of guys who are really locking it down, and then Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts controlling the pace of the game. I don't like the Rams to have a lot of room in this one, and they have the toughest matchup against wide receivers in terms of yards per game this week. So I like Connor in this game. I think he has pretty good upside against Seattle to be able to rush. And as much as I don't want to start Mike Evans because of the injury risk, I don't think Tampa Bay brings him back if there's if he's feeling twinges or whatever. So I would start Mike Evans, but pay close attention and flip Kupp in there if you have to. But I do not sit Montgomery and I do not sit Connor.
Yeah.
Montgomery has, I want to say he's either one short or he has as many touchdowns as games played. So averaging a touchdown per game. And then James Conner has a great matchup. So I'm sitting Evans and wait. And if something happens, then I'm putting him in for Kupp. Or I'm sorry, I'm sitting Kupp. But if Evans is totally okay, then stick with it. If something happens to Evans, then flip those out. But start the other two guys.
For me, my side on the Evans take there is, I don't think they're going to need him much in this game, to be honest. They're playing the Giants, coming with Tony DeVito in as quarterback. Tommy DeVito as quarterback. They're going to be running the ball. I got, Rashad White, Bucky Irving as great starts this week. Mm-hmm. And I just think that Philly is going to play the Rams really tight. I think they both need to win this. Well, Philly doesn't necessarily need to win this game, but the Rams do. So I think that they're going to be involved in a closer game than, the Bucks and going up against that weaker defense. So I'm just not I'm not too sold on that one. So that would be my take, but definitely get Monty and Connor and just go with your instinct on that other one. Okay, we got another one from Charlene. Let's get that one in here, Schultze. Hey guys, need 3 flex. Freiermuth, Gibson, Vele, Addy Mitchell, Mike Williams, and Michael Wilson. So 3 flexes in this situation. All right.
Really quick, I want to shout out my girl, Charlene Erickson, part of my Scott Fishbowl draft crew live in San Francisco. Don't forget, Charlene, next year it's going to be in Sacramento. Sacramento or Davis. I'm going to be hosting the SFB 15 for NorCal. So can't wait to see you again. See you there. This is tough. This is really tough. I feel like you can kind of pick. Take a 6-sided dice, and 1 is Muth, 2 is Gibson, 3 is Vele, AD Mitchell is 4, Mike Williams is 5, Michael Wilson is 6, and then roll it 3 times and just go with the guys that come up on the dice roll. If I was forced to pick, I would go Michael Wilson, Antonio Gibson, and AD Mitchell.
I like Vele's matchup against the Raiders in the slot there. I think that could be an opportunity here. So, but I do like your call there on AD Mitchell and Michael Wilson. I would probably. Yeah, go
Here's
ahead.
The thing about the Raiders defensive backs. Last week, they went into the game down Nate Hobbs. Jacorian Bennett and Jack Jones both got hurt in the middle of the game. That allowed Tyreek to absolutely go off. If 2 of those guys are healthy, they're not going to give up a whole lot, and it's going to be Javonte and Audric Estime big this game. They're not going to need to throw the ball. Bo Nix. Oh, and incidentally, I was looking at a dynasty team, and I was looking at it's 2 quarterbacks, not super flex, 2 quarterbacks, and one of my one starter is it has a bye week, and I'm like, oh no, I need to make a wait pick, and I look down, and Bo Nix is in my taxi squad still. I was like, oh, I didn't realize 10, 11 weeks in that I still have him on my taxi squad. So guess who's starting this week? Bo Nix. Yeah.
Well, I like Vele's matchup this week. I'm going to start him. That would be my call. All right, let's get another.
Okay, put your money where your mouth is. Go get him in Duke's Classic and start him this week.
Yeah, no, that's a much deeper league. That's a much shallower league where.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, no. I'm not starting him. I'm starting him in any one of those guys.
Oh, it's
any one of those guys in Charlene's league right now. Okay. All right, let's get Kibo's question. I really like this one because this is a good one to pull up here.
Wait, real quick.
Yeah,
we had a message. Koa times Kai. Go ahead and send me a DM on Twitter at BigBonedFFB, and I'll see what I can do. At BigBonedFFB.
There you go. For the Scott Fish Bowl live draft in San Francisco. Let's send Biggs a DM. He'll try and get you in there. All right, let's get that start and sit question here. So who should I flex this week? Cedric Tillman or Jalen Coker? Now, Adam Thielen is set to return this week in the slot role there for Carolina against the Chiefs. That's a tough matchup in general, and with the influx there, I would personally start Cedric Tillman tonight, even in the rain, in a tough matchup over Jalen Coker because Thielen's coming back and they're playing the Chiefs. Biggs, what about you?
Same. I thought of Tillman even before the Adam Thielen news. I know how much you like Jalen Coker and talked me out of picking up Christian Watson last week because I would have to have dropped Jalen Coker. But yeah, I'm going Tillman.
All right, so let's get another one. Okay, flex Bucky Irving or Ridley, full PPR. And then Steelers or Chiefs defense this week. That's a really good position to be in. You got Steelers D and a game that could be very low scoring with some weather inclement. And then the Chiefs D against a Panthers team that, is starting to come around, and they're coming off a bye here. They could surprise, this could be a trap game for the Chiefs to me. And I'm going to go with the Steelers D tonight. And
Same.
And then Bucky Irving or Calvin Ridley. Now, this is a really good question because I like Bucky's matchup this week. He's still dealing with that toe injury, and Rachaad White is getting the more valuable touches in that offense. He's the passing down back, and he's getting a lot more of the red zone stuff. So to me, I'm going to go with Ridley, even in a tough matchup. What are your thoughts on that, Biggs?
Same. Ridley is starting to come on, and they have a rest of the season. Ridley's got a pretty good playoff matchup schedule.
And then Simon wants to know if we answer dynasty questions. Well, I mean, we have a dynasty show, Biggs and I together, and we answer dynasty questions all the time. So let's get
I would like to invite you, Simon Joseph, to watch the Dynasty stock market on the Player Profiler News channel right here on YouTube or on Twitter, if that's where you're watching from. It comes on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast. So yeah, the Dynasty stock market with me and Dynasty Football Key on Player Profiler News on Twitter and YouTube. Sorry, right. Go ahead.
Shout out to the 400 plus people watching us. Remember to like and subscribe to the Player Profiler, not just the main channel, but the news channel, because there's a lot of great stuff happening, and we're very reactive on the news channel with all the breaking news. So be sure to subscribe to that as well. So now let's bring up Simon's question. Do you guys answer Dynasty? Yes. So 12 teams, Superflex, PPR, start 11, not a tight end premium. Tyrone Tracy, who is really steamed up in value and potentially has a long-term, place there in, New York. But with the new regime potentially coming in, we'll see what happens there. A 104-ish probably around there, or Rashee Rice, who, we know he's done this season, but he could be facing that suspension as well. And Dalton Kincaid, which this could have been the year for him. We know what his role is now in that offense, and potentially he's, plateaued for the next couple of years there.
Before you answer, I'm going to answer for you, and then you can answer for me. Mike's going to say Rashee Rice and Dalton Kincaid. What was I going to say, Mike?
I don't even know if I was gonna say that, to be honest.
Stop it.
I'm not that high on Kincaid right now. And I'm really a little bit worried about I love Rashee Rice. He looks amazing. He gets me giddy. I really wish he could be with my team right now, but he's not. I like Tyrone Tracy, but I'm worried about his draft capital, his long-term plans with the Giants. The 104 is a nice pick for sure, but it's not solidified in a draft class that we're like there's a couple quarterbacks in there. The running backs are plenty of. So you could probably wait in running back in that draft to get some. So I'm gonna say yes, Biggs, you were right. I'm gonna say Rice and Kincaid.
I know I said that. Now what am I gonna say?
I'm gonna say you're gonna say Rice and Kincaid.
No, I'm going to say Tracy and the 104. With the 104, you're going to have your choice of Ashton Jeanty, Tet McMillan, Travis Hunter, or somebody else who I almost said LeVar Burton, or Burton. You're going to have your choice of one of the top 4 guys in this draft who are going to be better than Rice and or Kincaid. Plus, you're going to have Tyrone Tracy, who at some point is going to hit his potentiality for being a receiving back. And I want to be the owner of that when it happens. So I'm on the Tracy and the 104 side.
I'm just worried about it, that 104, and you got to hit it, right? I mean, it's going to be, I like Hunter. Jeanty is obviously a smash at that stage. The quarterbacks are a question. So I want to see where that is at this stage. I'm still worried about it. So I'm going to go with I'm less of a gamble at that stage. I think that Rice has got, top 10 dynasty wide receiver written all over him.
The other thing is you can do the chalk art of dynasty thing and take that 104, and on draft day, when draft picks in rookie drafts are at their highest value, get a couple more and drop back and get some potential starters like a Jaden Ott or a Raheem Sanders or something like that. So there's going to be a lot that you can do. So I'm in favor of that Tracy and the 104.
All right, let's get some more in here. Otton or Hawkinson? Well, this one here, Jeff, to me, Otton is in a matchup that is going to be prime time for him. Hawkinson, I don't think they're going to need him very much. This game is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think he's going to get a huge amount of targets, so I'm going to go Otton here by a landslide. What about you, Biggs?
Cade Otton is facing the New York Giants, and their defense allows 3.0 points to tight ends in fantasy. Regardless of what you think Hawkinson is or isn't going to do, he's going to score more than 3 points. He's going to be in the 4.9 range. I like Hawkinson's place in that offense, and that's a tough matchup for Otton. So I'm going Hawk.
I like Otton's place in his offense quite a bit more at this stage with not much outside of Mike Evans coming off an injury. So I'm going to take Otton here by quite a bit. All right, what's the next one? Superflex, dump Winston for Penix seasonal.
I'm going to answer what Mike's going to say. No, I don't do that.
No, me neither. No.
I knew you were going to say that.
Do you guys think I should trade Jaden Reed for Rachaad White? I'm in a full PPR.
Is this a redraft? You're in a playoff push and you need some help? Because Jaden Reed has a very, very good matchup this week. But I'm a Rachaad White truther. It depends on what the status of your roster is, but I don't hate it.
Yeah. Especially if this is to make a deep push in the playoffs. Rachaad White has got some of the best matchups in the playoff run that you could ask for a running back, and the Bucs are going to need him. So I'm all for this trade. I know that Jayden Reed's a flashy name, but it's really hard to peg which wide receiver in the Packers offense that is going to go off each week. If it's best ball format, Jayden Reed is definitely probably the play, but this is Rachaad White coming in some juicy matchups, and I think that is the play for me. What about you, Biggs?
I mean, Reed just has such a consistent floor that I really, really like him, and his spikes are big spikes. So I really like him. But like you said, I'm looking at down the line. And
hold on, there's some new information here. He's got some pretty solid wide receiver help here. He's
breaking
news. We've got Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins, and Cedric Tillman as his wide receivers. And it'd be nice to see what your running back room looks like, because Rachaad White could probably definitely help, as a RB3 plug in there for sure, with some upside there. I like Rachaad White moving on here.
So after this week, Rachaad White has starting week 13, Carolina is a green matchup. Las Vegas is a green matchup. The Chargers aren't. Dallas and Carolina to finish out the fantasy playoffs. So I love Rachaad White for the next 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, smash, especially in championship weeks, right? Those
in your wide receiver room, Jayden Reed, I think, is the number 2 in that room. I like St. Brown. I like Jayden Reed.
I love T. Higgins rest of year. Oh yeah, that looks good for him.
I do. Yes, I do like with that RB room. I do like making the Rachaad White move.
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely need that, like I said, an RB3 in that lineup. There you go. James Cook, Brian Robinson, and that adds some really good depth there. I think that's the right trade to make to upgrade in a position of need where you need it. And you got a lot of depth at wide receiver, in my opinion, rest of season. Awesome. Okay, so I'm a Purdy owner in a super flex league. Play Winston tonight or roll the dice with Purdy playing. No QB backup to play. So this is based off of the Purdy shoulder injury. I don't know. This is a must win situation for the 49ers. I think Purdy plays for sure. And I don't know there's going to be a whole lot of passing going on tonight for Winston, as far as touchdown upside goes. So I'm gonna probably roll the dice on Purdy and maybe try and get the backup there if worst case scenario.
I'm gonna say to roll with Purdy. Don't put Winston in your lineup. It could be a very suppressed game. And even if it's not, Purdy has a slightly better matchup anyway. If it was both, sunny afternoons, Purdy's matchup defense is a little bit better, a little bit more advantageous for him. But it's also Thursday night. So you have a good 72 hours with which to work a trade. Try and figure something else out. Even if you don't have another quarterback to slide in there, there might be somebody in your league who has an extra quarterback that is looking to make a playoff push or is on the cusp, wants to make the playoffs, and you can kind of dangle something out there and get a better quarterback than Winston, who might have a better play, might be a better play than Purdy. You have a couple days to figure that out, and that's the way that I would approach it.
And Bruce Flash, what a killer avatar you have there. If you made that yourself, I need you to DM me at FFCanuck99 on X, because I need a little bit of what you got cooking there. That is fly. All right, folks. Game is about to start. Biggs, do you want to give the audience here maybe your start of the week, if you will?
Yeah. First, I want to I did crow about my IDP suggestion last week because it was absolutely spot on. My start of the week this week is George Pickens, because on this show I try and make Thursday night start and sit decisions for you guys. So George Pickens is the wide receiver of all of them that I start. So even if you've heard me say in the past I don't like starting guys on Thursday night, George Pickens is still in my lineup. I still like him in this matchup. Last week I gave you Mike Williams to start. That was a bad bad. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry if anybody did that. Hey, I bought the hype too, and sorry about that. But I said sit Tony Pollard. That was a good call. So you're welcome. This week, my sit of the week is Elijah Moore. I don't like him in this matchup. He has the majority of the Browns slot receptions or slot snap share, and that's what Pittsburgh does best, is shut down the slot. And so I'm sitting him.
Yeah, I would sit him too. I have him on another show sheet as well. So I love your call there, Biggs. And yeah, so for me this week, I got my start of the week is going to be Geno Smith. And I think he's going to, go off this week against the 21st ranked pass defense in the Arizona Cardinals. I think both teams are going to need to score some points to keep up with each other. Smith ranks 11th among quarterbacks in fantasy points, and this is a good matchup for both quarterbacks. And I got Kyler Murray as the start of the week in another series here too. So I love this matchup for both quarterbacks. His best fantasy game of the season came in week 5 against the same team here. So looking for Geno Smith, his steady production. He's got some rushing upside too. And, the Cardinals are vulnerable against the pass, so I'm expecting big things from Geno Smith this week. And my sit of the week is Chuba Hubbard against that tough Kansas City Chiefs defense. I know that James Cook got in twice last week, but his rushing totals were not great. And I'm not expecting, a lot from Chuba Hubbard this week, even though he's been playing really good. The Chiefs have just allowed one running back to score over 13 fantasy points, and that was last week, James Cook, with scoring 2 touchdowns. And I just don't think the Panthers are going to be in that many scoring positions for Chubbard to have that upside unless he breaks off a big run. So that would be my sit of the week for y'all. And yeah, Biggs, let's wrap this show up. What do you got?
We're gonna start calling him Chubbard. That's a much better name, Chubbard.
All right, we got a Scott Fishbowl question here. Scoring. So we got Winston, Young, or Tommy Cutlets at quarterback for the for the Superflex, for the Scott Fishbowl.
Well, seeing as how my team is like 2-20, I'm going to go ahead and defer to Mike on this one.
Oh, man, this is a tough one. Well, you got Bryce Young against the Chiefs defense, so he's automatically out. Tommy might be the play here because, it's not the Thursday night game. And, they're playing – who are they playing this week? They're playing let me see here. Let me pull that up.
The Buccaneers.
The Bucks, which is, they allowed a lot of passing yardage. Jeez. I'm going to say Tommy. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's got to be Jameis. I don't even care. You guys can't do this. Not Tommy. No.
It's Thursday night, and it's a tough one. Okay, I'm going to go Jameis. Jameis Winston. You talked me out of it, Schultze.
While we wrap up here, I want to shout out the Winnipeg Jets. I want to shout out the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I want to shout out Winnipeg Blue Bombers and California Golden Bear legend wide receiver Kenny Lawler. I want to shout out Jenny's Giant Burger in Fort Bragg, California. I want to shout out Wayback Burgers in Davis, California. I want to shout out Cookout Burgers. Anybody that's got chicken wraps, corn dogs, quesadillas, hush puppies, or bacon wraps offered as a side in your value meal, I want to go to there. And unless your name is Sean Raycraft, Big Draft Energy, or Mike Greinberg, I hope you win.
And unless your name is Biggs, I hope you win, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the Thursday night tailgate on Player Profile. Be sure to check us out next week. We're going to hit you up with the start and sit questions. Thanks, Charlene, for joining us. And everybody in the chat, it was hopping tonight. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Over 475 live. So appreciate y'all. And we'll see you next week on Player Profiler Thursday night tailgate. Enjoy the game. Hopefully we get some points in it. Peace.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.
The views is really